So we're super amped for this one. Welcome everyone to the January 2023 State of the Market. Another year down, and more changes in the way these auction houses have decided to go about things. So I don't know, Al. Welcome. Guess I should introduce you, although most people probably know who you are if they're watching this. So a couple of things. We have, of course, Golden and PWCC are our big auction houses. PWCC just changed what they're doing for February, where they are not requiring somebody to place a bid before the extra time for them to be able to bid, after 10 p.m. Eastern time.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I know they're just trying to figure out if that's going to be beneficial to them for their bottom line, so I know what they're doing. Probably February is a slower month for them, so they figure it's an easier time to test it out, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the reason, but I know that that's all they're trying to do. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really see myself. I'm usually somewhat prepared. I'll look at the auctions a couple times throughout the week and place marker bids so that I know those are the ones I just have to look at once things kind of get moving, especially when you get into those 5-minute increments. It's pretty tough to kind of be looking for new things that are deals. So I just don't know like how many people are really going to be bidding more. And I mean, does that mean are people less likely to place those marker bids, which could potentially keep the prices lower? I don't know. I don't necessarily think it really matters. I don't think people not bidding or placing marker bids will change the top end value that much, but I mean, maybe you get an extra person that comes in late that they wouldn't have seen the item otherwise because they didn't have a chance to look at it until after 10 p.m. So, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent. I'm not too worried about it one way or the other because it's not going to change my process at all. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same. I think you may get a few drifter bids occasionally, and more likely on high price items that kind of stand out, or people are like, hey, what's hot, right? So you may get one or two of those. I do worry about the marker bid though thing, so that or you plan on placing some bids, you star them for favorites, you plan to come back, and then for whatever reason it doesn't happen, you get stuck in traffic, or you're at your friend's house and you never place any of those bids because of that. I mean, one of the things that we all lamented in the trade change from eBay was the inability to use snipes that you could use on eBay, and you felt good about walking away and stuff you really wanted. You felt like you could get there, and the lack of ability to do snipes. So I don't know where things will shake out. I largely think for 98% of the lots, probably no change, but there could be 2% that go either way. I think, positively or negatively. I think on the margin, it probably hurts, if you're a seller of kind of low tier, get things kind of lost in the sea, and on the margin, it maybe helps a little bit higher end, bids because of just more visibility. But again, we'll see as time goes on, how it works.
Yeah, I think that it might end up being where people log in at 10 p.m. and start looking to see where things are at before they place a bid, ever. And like you say, if their schedule prevents that, it might be a hindrance. Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, there's a few moving parts that I'm just not sure at the end of the day we're going to see a whole lot of an issue or a lot of a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the other thing is that Golden has now started their weekly auctions that end on Thursdays. So we are now competing with the end of that auction. So thanks everybody who's watching us live. Yeah, not that it really matters, but so I've noticed that most of them, at least when I've inspected the first few for soccer, at least it seems like probably what 90% of them are modern. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know. I mean, it's going to be kind of easy if you're into vintage to kind of dig in. Like I saw some 70s stuff, maybe a few things from like the 40s, and but not much to really, I don't know, dig into, I guess. So what are your thoughts on how that affects things? Because now they're not doing their monthly auction, right? Their normal monthly auction has now become weekly auctions, and they're just going to do their elite, which is their monthly auction now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just auction overload. And even with the PWC weeklies and the premiere and the monthly golden and occasionally a vintage or special auction, that was a lot. Now I think we have even more chance for things to get even more lost. Which this fragmentation, whether it's between these big auction houses or whether it's between them and eBay and or other auction houses, it's just harder and harder. So I think that people committed to the grind of getting in there, seeing the cards, going through all of the auctions, almost in a job-like fashion, is where you're going to find some value out there left. And if you're a seller, which is something I talked about in my 2023 predictions, I think it becomes more of a eBay buy it now, take offers, especially at cards that are worth a couple $100 or less, because if it goes, you got a $200 card that's traded less 4 times for 180 to 220. I wouldn't be surprised if it traded for $40 in one of these auctions, right? So I think there's just a significant amount of auction risk with so many auctions, and what I think we'd all concede is probably a lower number of bidders. Now, they may be better bidders for the long run. I think we're having a really nice collector base kind of firm up, but not all, first of all, not everybody wants to have duplicates, which I totally get, right? And then number two, so as soon as people get one, a lot of people will leave the market for that card. And then, number two, it's a tough economic environment out there. So people aren't laying around, like I've got an extra 50,000 that I'm going to invest in cards. You just don't hear that it really at all anymore. And you did hear it during the boom, or 10,000 or 5,000, whatever the number was. There was people were betting hard, and I haven't personally heard that in my contact with a lot of collectors. Most of them are in the same thing. I'm trying to get stuff I don't have, and I'm trying to par down my duplicates if I have any, and I'm trying to either trade them or sell them so I can buy something else that I don't have. And I think that's the trend. So I think having to check and weed through, because I think golden is really hard because of the way that they have it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. There's you just collect soccer and golden and you just get a dump, and you're like, okay, I got to go through 7-8 pages of mostly modern stuff to see if there's a vintage thing. At least the PWC thing can rank it by year, or it can rank it revert. Their searching mechanism makes it easier to find stuff that you're looking for. And golden, to me, just seems like it's just a mosh pit.
It seems like it'd be an obvious sorting option. Like it just seems like it's so obvious, so that people can scroll right to where they're looking. If you pre-modern, you're looking in the 80s and 90s. Like it just makes it easier for everyone to be able to sort by year. And maybe their philosophy is by forcing you to go through everything, you might bid on something else.
Yeah, and that sometimes works, like in the supermarket. I don't think it works. I don't think it works with weekly auctions.
Yep.
That for soccer cards, right? And maybe
Agreed.
it works for baseball, maybe it works for football. I'm just saying the eyeballs and the time commitment to do it, is I don't think it works, right? And if you were like the very first, I went through on the golden thing, and the first time I came up with a card that wasn't like ultra modern was on, what page was it? Page 6 of the soccer, right? And the card, and that card that showed up was CR7 BGS 8.5 rookie, right? Mega cracks, right? So it's, I mean, not even vintage. So
right.
I don't think it's good for the hobby. I don't think it's good for sellers, and I think long run, I'm not so sure it's good for golden.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see, like, I mean, we're already seeing it, right? Like, we're seeing so many people buy like from PWCC, and then 2-3 weeks later, you're seeing the items posted up on eBay for 3x what they paid for it, or 5x what they paid for it, and then you're seeing stuff sell too at a higher price because people are, there's just more eyes on eBay, and I think we're starting to see where in a boom, these auction houses can do incredibly well. But once you kind of pull the rug out from underneath them, and people aren't actively seeking stuff as much. I mean, we see the activity even in the Discord, right? Like it's substantially lighter than it used to be. Like it used to be almost a job to read everything in there. Now you can kind of get everything in 15 minutes or 20 minutes and in a day. And so I think that, like, if that's the case in the Discord, we see the activity, people just aren't as gung-ho about everything, and they're just kind of taking a breath and doing, just being collectors. That's really going to hurt these auction houses, where eBay is just, you have so much more volume.
Yeah, I mean, even if the eyeballs are down a little bit on eBay, the critical mass is there.
Correct.
Right? And I would be fascinated. I mean, you can see at least golden. I got this thing, and it's like consign and will give you 115% of hammer.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that just screams desperation.
Yep.
That screams, we want to stay relevant. I need to get volume, right? Things that have been given basically for, had been givens the last couple of years are suddenly not givens.
Yeah, and also I just got it today, and I think I saw somebody else post it yesterday, where PSA is now doing vintage grading for the members or whatever. It's $15 for getting things graded. So there are, even you were predicting a lower prices than those, and we're starting to see that trend.
It's February 2nd.
Yeah. what's it going to be in July?
Look at, yeah. I mean, so I'm just making a stack. Right now I'm like, okay, I'll send in, and not even because I think it's going to get to $12. Yeah, I think it's going to get to $12, but it just takes time. I don't want to send a 200 card order, so I'll send 50 now. Yeah. I'll send 50 when it's 13. I'll send 50 when it's 12. Right, and
it's just like that. You're cost averaging. So
yeah. So in the scheme of things, just the process isn't necessarily. It's good to get between 50 and 100 card orders in, as opposed to a 400 card order. That's just brutal.
Brian says, yeah, the total card value is maxed at $199 for the vintage deal.
Okay, true, but I mean, if you think about these types of cards,
like, look at the prices right now.
Yeah,
like you can totally argue.
find these cards. Number one, have some guy, go find them out. There's not going to be a lot of upcharges in there, and
Yeah.
then most of these are going to be ones or twos.
And I think you're
And
going to see like a lot more slip through, or they're going to let things slide a little bit more. And even if that's the case, like, I mean, even if they bump it up, I mean, right now, if the card's worth $499, you're only getting an upcharge of $3 because they're charging $18 for anything $499 or lower. So as long as it's not like 3x and they are going to be sticklers, you're only going to get bumped up $3. So
yeah, so is it worth it to them?
right, exactly.
You know?
You want to alienate a customer because of that?
Yeah,
Like,
you give them $3-4, $3 upcharges. All right,
yeah,
fuck you, right? So I think yeah. So I mean, I think we're starting to see this capacity thing hit the system. The system meaning all the grading things. I think you're going to get a lot of pressure on the P&Ls as they start to see, the waterfall coming down from the businesses. And in the end, I think we're going to end up as in a better place for collectors. But if you want to sell stuff, I'm believing even more now, 1 month later, that eBay feels to me the lowest risk.
yeah. I mean, it's totally the lowest risk, right? Because you can just put it at a buy it now with best offer and just leave it as is, and see what happens. Like, I mean,
Yeah, the risk that I lived through and I got shafted on was when the market was going crazy. People went to your store and bought everything because it was suddenly below market.
right.
But that is not an imminent risk in this macro environment that we're in. So, I would say that it's something that I wouldn't be worried about. I wouldn't be worried about things tripling in the next 3 months.
But you can even put prices up at a stupid amount,
Yeah,
and
put
then
it up
people
3
give you
times.
offers. So like you're gonna have a little bit of a buffer, and as you're seeing the market change, you can, keep bumping up. So yeah, interesting to see kind of, you and I had spoken, and I don't recall if it was on this or if it was on premium show, but I felt like I made a decent amount of sales this last month, and I think you had mentioned it as well. Granted, a lot of it for you wasn't soccer, but it's just showing that or at least anecdotally, it feels like the market's kind of shifting a little bit, and people are willing to spend a little bit of money. Maybe it's the winter, and in the U.S., and people have more income because their entertainment dollar isn't maybe as reserved as it is, when it's warmer out, but for travel and things like that, I don't know. But
yeah, but I literally, yeah, I've sold a lot of I've sold some soccer, but mostly baseball. And then I had, I'm sitting on an offer right now where the last comparable comp was about 15,000 and the offers are about 20. So that's a nice bump even from the last comp. So, I think these are there's definitely some pockets of strength
yeah,
out there. There's definitely some interest out there. And I think people are trying to discern what's a true rarity versus a condition rarity. I think we're seeing that still play out. This true rarity thing is people are gravitating to that a little more than during the boom, where there's a lot more, I would say, emphasis on just the highest graded or the lowest pop or stuff like that.
yeah. You mentioned that both of the bigger items that I sold were about 25% over the
Last
previous sale. So yeah, I think we are kind of seeing people being a little bit more aggressive on certain things, and they were like, higher end items. It wasn't run of the mill stuff. But all right, let's kind of check out these auctions. There's not a ton. I feel like before we were just spending so much time on the auctions, and during the boom, like we would give like a 2-minute conversation on the actual market, and then we would just go over the auctions because they were so humongous. And
now there's so few.
yeah, like we're like going, damn, we're gonna have to actually hold a conversation. Like, Al, you're gonna have to talk to me. So it's there's 10 items in the January premiere auction for PWCC. And then I don't recall how many there was for the elite auction. I think there's like maybe 80. So kind of funny that that's the case. And I don't want us to get talking about the weekly auctions too much, just because there's just so much.
Yeah, there's too many of those.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna pop up the it's the December elite auction from Golden, but it ended kind of the middle. I want to say the middle of January. So where are we? Okay. All right, and I just have these sorted by the highest ending price. So first one we see is a Mears letter of authenticity jersey of Pele. Yeah, we've talked about that before. I just have some questions as to how knowledgeable they're going to be about kits from internet, other countries. But
totally.
The first one we see here is the Palarex PSA 7 Cruyff for 14.4. It's a little OC, but it's a good grade for the car or the sticker. I don't recall if that's even a great price or not.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like for this card that was a strong price. For a 7, I feel like it's a weak price, but this one had what appeared to be, to my eyes, removal, and there was some conversation about that in the Discord.
Right.
That there's no way this should have been a 7. So given that it was a 7, it isn't a 7 holder. I'd say the price seems kind of light. Maybe not though, even if for a real 7, but certainly for this particular 7, it was a really high price. I think that's my where I ended up. On this one.
So I'm just looking at the PWCC, what sold there recently, and in December there was a 6.5 Cruyff that kind of had that yellow discoloration on it, that sold for 12,000.
And that was definitely another overgraded one, which is unfortunately this sticker has suffered from a tremendous amount of, to my eyes, misgrading from all of the companies, but unfortunately, PSA is guilty here in this particular issue, to my eyes.
Yeah, there was a 7 that sold, looks somewhat similar, but I don't know about the back, that sold for just under 17,000 in October. So, all right, the Oliveira and Benassi Pele PSA 1. I mean, you don't see those all the time.
Yeah, and that one, there was we talked about last month, or was it? It was like a 3 or a 4, obviously really good. Traded for like 14 or 15, and there was some discussion of whether that was, high or low. This didn't have a lot of graded copies. I've seen a number of ungraded copies of this through the years. So while it looks super rare from a pop report perspective, it's not nearly as rare as the pop reports would tell you. That said, it's not this is not an Alifa. It's more difficult than Alifas right now. Certainly Aquarellas, other things. It's clearly 59, but it does use a different image and kind of a cool image. So, I definitely like this sticker.
Yeah, for sure. It's just nice to see something different, because you see so much of the same, same Pele stuff. Excuse me. So, All right. We have the 54-55 Oliveira and Benassi Garincha. So definitely an earlier one than we see,
Hard to
usually.
get this one too.
Say that
You know,
again.
no, I was saying hard to get this one.
Yeah.
This is a really nice one, and it predates the Ídolos, which
Yep.
I think is more gettable. You know, I don't. It's not really a rookie, right? The rookie's 53, but it's still a very rare Garincha. It feels like in this market that was a pretty strong price.
Yep.
But maybe the rookie moniker, brought some extra bids to some people who aren't fully aware.
Well, and a lot of people, think of the Vecchi Idolos as like the rookie kind of,
The
because
gettable,
that's what
yeah,
they
the
see all the
gettable.
time. So then when they
Yeah.
see 54, they're just like, oh, dang. Even if there is 53, like how many total 53s and 54s are out there, like that we know of? I mean, I know there's always more out there, but
Yeah.
like of graded, there can't be what, a dozen of
Yeah.
53s and 54
Yeah, I think.
shows.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's right. Let me. While
I mean,
you're.
give or take, like even if we say 20 conservatively, like I mean, to get one of the top 20 earliest copies, that we know of.
Man, you're perfect because that was exactly a dozen. There's 6 of these that just sold, like this one that sold for 10 grand. 4 of the Lar Felice, which is a 1953 flip, and then 2 of the Americanas, which are a 53 flip as well. So,
Wow.
yep, there you go, right on the nail on the head.
Hey, blind squirrel. So yeah, that's I mean, just being like kind of like, okay, I get one of the earliest of him. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. So I can understand why there's the demand for it. Okay, another one of these Aquarellas, a BVG5 for 10K.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it had a couple chunks out of the top. I thought that was
I mean,
completely
there's a
over.
3 here that I would much rather have
Exactly, for less than
for
half the price.
4K. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got this other that Pele. I love the front on it. This particular one had like a ripped back, like you couldn't read it, almost anything. Still a very rare other 1959. Just like what you're saying, great to see new stuff out there.
Yeah. That's not one you see too often either.
No, the back scared me away.
Yeah.
A bit, and then the Monty Gum, which has never been a favorite of mine, this blew me away. I mean,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
a
just,
solid price. Jeez.
I'd rather be the seller on that one.
Yeah, agreed. Here's a PSA 3. Oh, but these are the blue version compared with, oh, that's a blue also. Jeez. All right. So here we have the yellow with the Velita back. PSA 3 Eusebio for under 3 grand. That feels like a buyer's price, no?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, you bought that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would agree that it was a buyer's price.
Yeah, I was the buyer, so yeah.
So you'd prefer to be the buyer, is what you're
I prefer to be the buyer here.
Okay, good.
I just think, I mean, the Velita back, the yellow is tough enough. The Velita back yellow is crazy.
Right, combine the two, and then it's still a 3, so it's like it's not like it's a 1.
Yeah, I think the 3 maybe the highest grade of Velita backs. Yellow Velita backs. I don't know. I'll double check that, but certainly they're not super common in any grade though.
Here's one of the, I would say, less common 60s Pele's.
Yeah, a 3 is the highest grade.
Nice.
Of the Velita yellowbacks. I love that 67.
Yeah.
Just that pink, it just pops, and a 4 is a pretty good grade in that card.
Yeah, most of them are removed, so yeah, it's a nice looking one. I think that will always be kind of like have a little bit more demand just because it's a clean looking and Santos kit. So
yeah.
Okay, and here's a yellow with the blank back PSA 5 that went for 2.
Yeah, I also got that one.
Hey, look at you. Just why don't you get a room with Eusebio yellow cards? Jeez.
I love that sticker. The highest is a 6 of that, and then there's 3 5s. And there's still only, I know that we've talked a lot about, how common this appears to be over the last, year or two. There's still less than 20 yellows. So
How many of the blue is there? Can you see that?
yeah, so blue, straight blue, there is 70, and blue Valida, there's another 60.
So 130, and then there's a total of 20 between the Velita and the
the Valida and Valida yellow. I mean the yellow and yellow Valida, there's 22.
Okay, for both total.
Yeah.
So okay. So like 15% ish are yellow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here we have a Titulares 1.5 for 1,500. That seems like a good price. Granted,
it's like
there's some sort of film on it,
Yeah, I felt the 1.5 as a generous grade here.
Yeah, I kind of steered clear of it, even though I'm willing to just buy, those Titulares,
Titulares
at those
for
prices,
$1,000 to $1,500. I'm like, that seems like the ultimate no-brainer.
Yeah, that's just that film. I mean, if you could be confident to crack that and get that like cleaned up, then it might be worth it. But I don't like effing around with that stuff too much.
No.
All right, we have the Vecchiadolos Garincha, a 3 for 1,440. These have really dropped. I bought I think it was a 1.5, but it was a really nice colored one, like it was vibrant and everything. And I think I paid like $780 or something.
Yeah, that with the ones that have the deep blue, I love those. I still love this sticker, long term.
Yeah.
I think that it's great. It's attractive. The size of it's amazing.
Yeah, I still am. I mean, I'll grab those when I can get deals on them for sure. And I feel like that price is probably accurate for what it probably should go for around that at this point. But I feel like if you don't have one, now's the time to kind of grab one of those, because I feel like they're, especially if you can get like a 3 or above, and you feel like if it's been removed, it's been removed incredibly well, or but anyway, let's see. The Millonario Mundial Pele. Seen a few of these recently. Well, maybe I didn't. But PSA 3 miscut for 1,200. What do you think? I think you're on mute, Al.
Sorry, I forgot. My dog was barking there, so I was trying to save everyone the pain. I actually had tracked this, and so some had sold as much as 3,000 in the last few months, and as low as like 1,300. So this is a little lower. It is miscut, and if you look, it doesn't look that bad on the front, but on the back is where you really see the miscut on this one.
Okay.
So I think that's probably fair, comparable to kind of like a 1. In my mind, personally, I love this sticker. As an aside, I'm trying to go for, you see that little 7 in there?
Yeah.
7 note. I don't know if people can see this on your video, but it'll, they have, it goes from 1 to 10. So if you flip around the back, so it's kind of a fuzzy image on his face, on this one, and then you can see how bad the miscut is on the back.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I personally like this. Look at that back. If you complete the thing, you get these pots and pans. I mean, just so weird, these promotions that they had. So
So it's like the
anyway,
kids collect them, and then the mom takes
and
it
the
to.
moms get the dishes. Like, if I'm a
Yeah.
kid, I'm like, hell no. Why should I give my mom a pan? So these are kind of fun, and they go from 1 to 10. So I'm hopefully one day I'll put together a string of all the different notes. I haven't noticed that one's more rare than any other one, but I think I have like 4 or 5 different of the numbers, and I think the key one is the blue. I think there's like a blue instead of that red in the interior. There's like a
Gotcha.
blue, and that's like the one that meant that you basically got the tough one. So I don't know if there's if a complete run is all of them except for the blue one that got the pots and pans. But anyway, cute little card. Many of the Brazilian cards and Latin American cards have that type of dynamic of like a tough sticker or something you did to get the prize. And this one is, I kind of wish that it would be the other direction in the slab. I think that'd be cool, but it's just slightly too big to be.
Yeah, though it's too long for the width of the slab. Yeah.
But a cool card if you're into this type of thing. I love the back.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to scroll a little bit and just point out anything. PSA 1, 78 crack for 570. Seems like a pretty good deal.
Sounds like a really good deal. I think this, though, it just had a bunch of stuff on the back. If I'm not wrong, I could be getting this one wrong. Oh, no, this one looks good. It was just Newton's rings.
Yeah, it looks like there's some tape marks,
Oh, some tape marks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember this one was like, as far as a one go, wasn't perfect, but the front looks great.
Yep. I mean, if you're looking to get one, that's not a bad,
I still think it's a great, if you're going to be in the soccer card and you're looking for goats, pick one of those up. I mean, the Barese 2 at an 8 seems like ultimate certainly has a case could be made as the best defender or one of the best 5 defenders of all time. So, I feel like that's a deal there too. The Baggio, I feel like that's a deal.
Yeah,
$500 for an 8.
Yeah.
The Romario, a 7.
Yeah, 7. Jeez.
For 400. I mean, that feels like that's a deal here.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like,
it's not a great cut, but it's super clean. Authentic 400. Look at this Velita blue too.
Yeah,
this is almost like here. You're almost like pre-pandemic pricing. A number of these issues.
And I get like the hesitance with Beckett and BVG, but like at that price, like, it just feels like it's worth the risk, especially if you do like inspect it,
Yeah, and then, but on the other hand, we had that BVG Pele Aquarella that went for 10 grand.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We got a Mazzola here, 4 for $200. That feels like that's a buy.
That feels like a buy. I'd 100% agree with you.
Here's a 6 for 228 Romario.
Feels like buys.
Yeah.
Like even a Zico 5, you know how hard that card is in a 5?
Yeah.
$200, that's a hell of a deal. So I think here when you get, this is again back to what we were talking about. These lower price things are amazing. Look at those
Mazzola.
You could have got, take that. That's hand cut anyway, so I don't know why they give it an A. But you could have gotten 3 Mazzolas, excellent, cool eye appeal Mazzolas for what, $450? $500. It's just, that's amazing to me. So, I think again, great stuff out there for collectors.
Yeah. So it's still hit or miss. Probably more miss than hit at the moment. But we do see like those it's crazy how those Aquarellas just keep going, man. And I mean, we did not project that back in the boom. I mean, I made a case for it, but like I just was devil's advocating it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't believe that it would run the way it has.
And the staying power has been insane.
Yeah, like we thought maybe it was just one of those blips, because you see blips all the time where people kind of get excited about something and then it goes back, but it has not really. Like it's maybe dropped some since, but it's not dropped back to where it was
Right.
by any
Not like
means.
so
So
many other things.
yeah,
Right.
like I found a new floor for sure. Okay, now we're gonna go to the January premiere auction. There's 10 items here, so we're gonna start at the Lorati Meazza. This was the one that sold previously for, was it 50 or something? Am I right?
You know what? I wasn't sure if this was that one.
I think it was. Or it sold for more and then somebody resold it. I believe that was what somebody had mentioned in the Discord. But you know, we kind of talked about with these, there's only so many buyers at that price, you know, and as a few came out, you know, it was bound to, the pricing was going to drop a little bit just because you don't have, like you had said earlier, once somebody gets a copy, they're not usually looking to add a second one, particularly in this market. So, yeah, I mean, it's still a good price. I mean, when you relative to what we had seen prior to 2022 with pre-war, it's still, you know, another 5-digit sale. So, I mean, I think we've definitely found a new floor with these, right? And like I don't foresee these selling for under 10K too often. So
Yeah, I mean, and this one is beat up ish, you know, on the front. There's some annoying.
geez, fucking videos.
Yeah, you know, I don't like the videos. I know that I guess a lot of people do, but me myself, I'd just rather see a high quality scan. But the you know, just that rubbing along the
Yeah,
side,
there's some scuffs. Yep.
yeah, it is, and up top you see it there too.
Yeah.
It's annoying to me here, and this particular one, he looks like he has a, you know, that I don't think it's on the other one. Like, look at his right arm. It looks like he's like a zombie skin.
Yeah.
You know,
I just noticed that right when you were starting to talk
yeah,
about
it's
it.
kind of
Like,
like a Day of the Dead, you know, type of resurrection thing, which, and he's got a
yeah.
little bit of it on his left arm as well. And I think that's actually just shit on the card, like some scuffing or something that
Yeah.
makes him look like a freaking
You see
zombie.
it
So
over here too. Like there's,
yeah, so
like,
I
I don't know
I
if it
don't.
was soaked and it got destroyed, or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely some surface issues, and so for me, this is kind of, even though the actual, like, the corners look a little bit okay and everything, it's kind of like the lowest eye appeal one of the ones that I've seen. So, to get 18,000 out of this, the lowest one in this type of a market, means that it's, I just can't imagine anything going for single digit thousands again for this card. We could be wrong, but I just, if the buyers and the bidders on this had seen other ones, and they were willing to go up, multiple people were willing to go to 18, I feel like the floor is definitely, 5-digit card.
So I just went back and they've removed it from the, I have to go to research to find the like, since I opened that tab, they have changed where it
Oh,
was located. So
since the premiere, they put it
yeah,
into
because like I
research.
went to the final or the completed auction,
Yeah, the
and now
sold.
they've
Yeah.
moved it to research.
Oh, pain. Just
So,
while we were doing that.
yeah, well, since I opened the tab up about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
Um,
But hey, it's nice to see some of these cards. These, you always need to have some of these cards in come
Yep.
to market for the market, right? And it's
Correct.
nice to see a few of these come in there. It's nice to see the Alifa, come in there. I thought this was a pretty generous 4 grade. So I thought for the actual card, if you were looking at the card, it felt like a good price. But for the grade, it probably was a low price. The 5 on the Maradona seemed like a low price, but bad cut on that one.
Yeah, like that really destroys the eye appeal for me,
Me too.
personally. Like I'd rather a more beat up copy, but
Centered.
yeah, like that one with the tape marks on it. Like I really liked the way that looked. For me visually, I appreciate it more.
Yeah. Look at that 5 Aquarella, 20
Yeah,
grand. And it's off center too.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what to say, but um, somebody had mentioned and in the Discord, and I mean, it has to be happening because it's so erratic in the grading for those. Like, couldn't you just keep if you have a copy of one that's not been removed from the album, but it's been torn from the sheet? Um, couldn't you just keep cracking and resubmitting until you got like a good grade because it's so erratic the
It
grading and
it feels like a great business model, right?
yeah,
Buy a bunch of 2s to 3s,
yep.
send them back in, see which ones come back as 4s, 5s, and 6s.
Yep. I mean, because you get one and it's paid for everything.
Pays
So,
for 20.
yeah.
Now, of
So,
course, if you've got 20 and then the music stops and the bottom falls out about it, you lose your shirt. But it's been so incredibly resilient. It's just,
but
I
you
don't
could
even
just be
know.
doing one at a time too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you really want to, just so you
Yep.
don't have to have a huge nut with uh, just those cards. Um,
Very true.
so yeah, that was that. Any closing thoughts on the market?
Yeah, I mean it's nice to have a little bit of a slowdown. I'm not gonna lie. It's great for collectors. Every single week I'm still picking up new stuff. I think a lot of collectors are people who get in touch with me are excited about their ability to add things. And so, I'm just again looking forward. We're still early in the year. We've done one of 12 months. So, really excited about, where we're headed, as collectors, and great to see, I'm take advantage of the 15 card, $15 PSA, vintage stuff. I got another stack over here going to CSG, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's just good. It's fun. Hopefully everybody's having fun. If you're not a member of our Vintage Soccer Discord, come on over, talk to people, see some amazing stuff getting posted there and our collection show off. Talk to people about what's happening in soccer, get your questions answered. If you don't know what a card is, you can post it over there. Lots of incredibly knowledgeable people beyond Bill and myself. So, and everyone's welcome. Absolutely 100%, free
Yep.
to join. And, we'd love to have additional, comments over there.
And just a real quick thing for anybody who's international that has always had trouble with grading and that sort of thing, and you didn't know where to send, like ComC is now doing CSG grading. So like if you have your stuff shipped to them, you can get it graded. I know like PWCC does it, but then you have to sell it. So like if you're just want to get the card slabbed and you're okay with it being CSG, that's something to keep an eye on. I think that it's $20 to get a card graded through them. So keep an eye out on that, especially for the international viewers. And yeah, other than that, a shorter show, which I mean, I'm sure people are happy to not hear us talk for 2 hours.
Oh, I love the sound of your voice, Bill.
Yeah, you should hear it. I should start singing, and then you tell me that. So anyway, appreciate everybody watching. We'll be on the Discord intermittently, and we'll see you there.